There were plenty all-nighters, putting work out, expecting results and not getting those results, and just questioning, is this even worth it? And so the big question is, why am I even continuing this podcast? Well, we are back. Some of you have asked, Jonathan, where have you been all this time? And the short answer to that is I had to take some time to rest and live some life. Since the New York Marathon, I was able to take a trip to Mexico, which was my first time outside the country, and visit my good friend Abraham. Earlier this year, I was able to officiate a beautiful wedding for two beloved friends of mine. And really, it's just been a lot of enjoying friends and family without feeling the pressure to create. And in that rest, I was able to experience some growth in my life and some well-needed clarity. If I could have an honest moment, honestly, after the first season, I did not know whether or not I was going to continue this podcast. I mean, I started that season thinking it was just going to be a mini series, but I had friends encouraging me, hey, you should keep going with it. But it was during that first season I realized how much work it takes to produce a podcast like this. I mean, there were plenty all-nighters, putting work out, expecting results and not getting those results, and just questioning, is this even worth it? And yet, here we are. And so the big question is, why am I even continuing this podcast? Well, for those of you who remember or are new to this, the whole reason why I started this podcast was to share stories of change makers in different fields, giving practical insight so that you can take one step to create a change both in your life and in the lives around you. It was a challenge to stop waiting for one day and to take one step today. The first season lined up with my journey to run the New York Marathon fundraising for Charity Water, which was an incredible experience for all of us that we celebrated. Since then, I've had several conversations with people who are navigating different challenges in their lives, whether in career or habits or who they're becoming in their future. And all of them said the same exact thing. Jonathan, I just want to become a new version of myself. The picture that comes to mind is like a software update. If you have a smartphone, you will likely get a notification at some point that you need an update for your phone. This is to simply upgrade your phone to a newer version of the software to improve its performance, fix any bugs, and install any new features that weren't available before, all for the purpose to serve you better. I find it interesting how much of life operates in a similar way, where in order to become a newer or upgraded version of ourselves, it requires improving the areas of our life that have been working, fixing the bugs or letting go of things that have been holding us back, and installing new things or new mindsets that weren't there before. One thing I've come to learn is that there are two desires that every person has. One is to be intimately known, and two, for their life to matter. Oftentimes, we pursue certain kinds of success thinking that it would meet those needs, whether making a lot of money, becoming famous, or even making a big impact. Now, all those things are good things. I'm not knocking any of it. But newsflash, getting any of those things will not then make your life matter. I believe each of us already have intrinsic worth, with each of us being divinely designed so that we don't have to operate for a place of significance, but instead we can operate from a place of significance. And so the theme of this second season is about becoming exactly what the title says, a new version. For those of you watching, you probably noticed that there is a new setup. This podcast is taking on a new version. Along with having conversations with guests, I also plan on having direct conversations with you, sharing what I'm learning that may be helpful for you on your journey. And I also want to hear from you as well. You know, many months ago, as I was debating on whether or not I'm going to continue the podcast or not, I took a moment just to write down my thoughts surrounding this new season. What are the things I envision? What are the values that we really embody? What is one step? And ironically enough, today, as I'm filming, I came across the same piece of paper today, and I wasn't even planning on sharing it, but I think it'll be worthwhile to share it with you. And so it's really describing what is One Step. One Step is a journey, the story of creating change, both personal and public. It is the documentary of your life in which people will see the fruit of your life taking on new growth, yet only you will fully know the steps it took to get there. One Step is not a formula. There are principles, but they aren't promises. There is no cookie cutter shape for you to fit into. As you adopt different principles, your life will continue to fill the shape you were uniquely designed for. One Step is a process of transformation. It is no longer settling for the current conditions of our reality, but instead choosing to contribute in seeing our vision come to life. It is allowing yourselves to dream again of what could be, to be inspired and aim to inspire by taking information and putting it into application. One Step is meant to be bigger than myself. It is to collaborate with others, learn from others, and celebrate with others. It is reminding myself that creating change is bigger than just for my own gain. See, the purpose of this podcast still remains the same. Sharing stories to create change both in your life and in the lives of others. In doing so, two things I deeply value are authenticity and curiosity. This is a safe space for stories to be raw, to learn from, and to encourage. This is a community where we seek to understand first before trying to be understood. And I'll tell you now, if you're the type of listener or viewer that likes to judge based only on the 60-second headline clip, instead of hearing stories out, this ain't the community for you. There are many other great podcasts and communities which might be better fit for you. But here, even though we may not agree, we're aiming to learn and to build even when our perspective is challenged. And as we build, I'm excited to see what this community can become and accomplish. What would our lives look like at the end of this season, or in 1 year, or 5 years as we apply what we learn? I'm looking forward to the day where our lives have made such progress where we as a community can respond to different needs and make an impact together. And we're just getting started. Let's grow together on this journey for the steps ahead. And I've said it before, but I truly believe that change begins and continues with one step. Thank you for tuning into One Step. It would mean so much if you subscribe and leave a review on your favorite platform, as you'll be a part in promoting this show to becoming better in bringing you practical insight. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can visit onesteppodcast.com, where you'll find helpful links such as following our social media pages and even leaving a voice message to ask questions and give feedback. Who knows, you might get featured on a future episode. Overall, thank you. And remember, change begins and continues with one step.